Hello everyone. Today in the endocrinology class, let us discuss regarding the endocrinology of thyroid secretions and their role. It is presented by me. Let us have a brief introduction regarding the thyroid gland. As we all know, it is situated in the neck region, front of the larynx and trachea. So structure we have already studied in the previous classes. So it has two lobes, and the lobes have many lobules. Lobules mainly contain two types of cells, principal cells and C cells. And the principal cells secrete thyroid hormones. The C cells secrete the calcitonin. Okay. Now you can see in this picture the thyroid gland, which is present in the neck. It is being controlled by the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland in turn it is controlled by the hypothalamic region of the brain. Okay. Now there is a hormone secreted by the hypothalamus known as the thyroid releasing hormone TRH, and this TRH stimulates the anterior pituitary to release the TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. And this hormone acts on the thyroid lobules and stimulate it to produce the thyroid hormones. Now, the principal cells of the thyroid gland, they produce T3 and T4, and C cells present, they produce the calcitonin. Our purpose is to understand the functions of these hormones. As I have told you, the thyroid gland produces two important hormones. One is thyroxine, also known as the T4 or tetraiodothyronin, and another one is the triiodothyronin or T3. Okay, so it is a polypeptide hormone made up of amino acids. Now, the T4 contains 4 atoms of iodine. That's the reason we are calling it as tetraiodothyronin. And the T3 contains 3 iodine atoms. And as I have told you, the calcitonin, it is also the peptide hormone consisting of 32 amino acids. Now, what is the basic function of the thyroid gland? Thyroid gland controls the basic metabolic activities, the rate of metabolic activities that are happening in our body. You can see almost all the parts have been affected by the secretions of the thyroid gland. The calcitonin controls the calcium and phosphate levels, and here you can see T3, T4 are very much essential for controlling the metabolic activities. We shall see the functions one by one. Now, basically, we categorize the functions of the thyroid gland into three important heads. Number one, regulation of the basal metabolic rate and intake of oxygen, regulation of the cellular metabolism, and regulation of uh, growth and development. Now, regulation of basal metabolic rate, as we have told you, the thyroxine controls the basal metabolic activities. It also plays an important role in activating this enzyme, sodium potassium ATPase, which is very essential for activating the sodium potassium pump. Now, the hormones influences the cellular uptake of oxygen because it's controlling the basal metabolic rate. It is very essential to control the uptake of oxygen. And thyroid hormone plays a very important role in production of heat in the body, that is increasing the body temperature. So for this thermogenesis, oxygen control is very, very essential. Now, apart from that, the cellular metabolic activities like anabolism, where the production of proteins also influenced by the thyroxine, and it promotes the lipolysis. That means it promotes the breakdown of lipids to produce the triglycerides, and it also excretes the cholesterol present in the blood. So by that, it reduces the cholesterol levels in the blood, and Thyroxine decreases the cholesterol, phospholipids, and triglycerides level in the liver, and it favors glucose as a energy entity, and it stimulates more and more production of the glucose, and it also promotes the gluconeogenesis. Apart from these functions, the thyroid hormones play a very important role in the growth and development, especially in the fetal stage when the uh, fast development is taking place. That time and in the early childhood, thyroid hormone plays a very, very important role. And any discrepancy or any hyper or hyposecretion of this hormone definitely results in the improper development, and it also influences the other endocrine glands. Now, I have listed out here the functions of the thyroid hormones, and whenever there is hyposecretion or the hypersecretion, all these functions are taking place. Now, during the hyposecretion, you can see it controls the basal metabolic rate. I told you decreases it. There is decrease in the glucose uptake because I told you it promotes the glucose as energy source, and since it promotes gluconeogenesis, under hyposecretion, it decreases the gluconeogenesis. There is um, decrease in the vitamin requirement. There is body weight increase, decrease in cardiovascular activity, muscle contraction and relaxation slows down, and there is decrease in the gastrointestinal secretions, and automatically when overall body metabolic activities have been reduced, the cerebral activity also slows down, and endocrine gland secretion gets slowed down because it controls other endocrine gland functioning also. And this you can see on the reproductive system, there is effect of hypersecretion. There is decreased libido and excessive menstrual bleeding, which is also called menorrhagia, or there may be frequent menstrual bleeding, which is called polymenorrhea. So under hypersecretion of the thyroid hormones, or in some cases it may even result in amenorrhea, that means not occurring of the menstrual bleeding. And you can see the person becomes very tired, and he sleeps for around 12 to 14 hours. So we can see the opposite effects in case of the hypersecretion. There is increased metabolic activity, increased uptake of glucose due to the hyperactivity, and gluconeogenesis increases, and fat metabolism increases, fat reserves get depleted. We have seen the function lipolysis that increases, and vitamin requirement increases. All functions that we have seen, all of them will increase under the hyper secretion. Just go through these points. Now, hyper and hypersecretion of the thyroid hormone also results in some diseases. We shall see them now. So hypersecretion in the childhood, as I have told you, it plays a very, very important role during the fetal growth and development, during fetal stage and early childhood stage. Any hypersecretion or the less secretion of the thyroid hormone results in a disease known as cretinism. So under this condition, the child becomes deaf, and there is lack of development of the nervous system that results in mental retardation. And in adults, the hypersecretion results in what is known as mixed edema. So you can see the edema and puffiness in the face, and it may also result in enlargement of the thyroid gland due to the deficiency of the iodine, which we term it as goiter. And under hypersecretion, the disease is known as the Graves disease. The symptoms are enlargement of the thyroid gland, and there is puffiness or edema just behind the eyes. As a result, the eyes look protruded, which we term it as exophthalmic goiter. Okay. Now, apart from the thyroxine T3 and T4, the C cells of the thyroid gland
secrete calcitonin. It mainly associated with the calcium and phosphate metabolism. It enhances the uptake of calcium and phosphate by the bones. As a result, there is a decrease in the level of calcium and phosphate in the blood, and it also prevents bone leaching. That means the osteoclastic activity, it leaches the bones to increase the calcium level. This will be prevented by the calcitonin. You can see osteoclast activity have been inhibited. Okay, and remember always, it is not the sole function of the calcitonin, but it acts in combination with parathyroid hormone PTH and the calcitriol. Okay, so these are the hormones and functions of the thyroid gland. Thank you.